This election was truly a referendum on the council, on our form of government, on the direction that we've gone over the last 8 years, right? Since 2018, since that override, and since the transition to this new form of government. And we have done a lot of great things, and I think the majority of people see that, they realize that, they put their trust in us, and we get one more chance to go at it again, and I'm just thrilled. And there was a vocal minority this time around, and their voices are heard, and I think we're going to listen to what they have to say and take that into account as we're moving forward with our plans. But at this point, I'm just happy that the town understands the good value that we've brought to the table over the last.
This definitely is
6
an
years.
affirmation of the direction that the voters want you to take the town in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've certainly been following this closely, certainly on social media. The North Attleboro Federation of Teachers, which I believe you were both interviewed by, of their 9 recommendations, 8 of the 9 were elected, and I think the only recommendation that person not recommended was Mark Gould Jr., who did win his seat back. There was an ad in Saturday's edition, the weekend edition, of the Sun Chronicle. Yes. I call it the Saturday-Sunday edition of the Sun Chronicle. And I believe Keith LaPointe and Mark Gould were the only 2 recommended in that ad that were voted in today.
I wouldn't put much credence into that ad, frankly. I don't think I have much more to say about that ad, but I will say that I appreciated very much the North Attleboro Federation of Teachers endorsement, and support the schools, support the entire town. We support the seniors, we support everybody, right? Like, we're building a new senior center in town. We're looking to expand senior tax exemptions. Like, we care about the entirety of the town, including the schools, including the teachers, including the kids, right? And I think like Keith and myself and the members that they endorsed have a track record over many years of really like doing what's best for the kids in this town and the schools and the entire community.
Can we read anything from today's results looking ahead to June 3rd?
Well, I think you can read a couple things. First of all, huge kudos to Justin. I've said this a couple times. I'm like literally the only person in the world who knows how hard being the president of the town council in North Attleboro is, other than Justin. And that level of commitment and leadership, and you take so much blowback, and you still kind of keep things moving. And so I think what you can read into today's election is that it's a sign that he's been doing a really good job, and the voters appreciate that, and that they do appreciate the direction of the town. But Michael, you said it. The school elections is a different beast. And I really kind of agree with Justin's points. If the election had been different, I think it would have been a clear negative sign, but I would caution reading too much into this as a positive sign. There's a lot of work left to do. There's clearly people who want to understand better, and I hope they tune in, right? I don't know how you do it in today's world, but there's just so much misinformation, and folks are working their butts off. They've been working their butts off for years.
Misinformation, come on, get out of here.
If I could have anything, I would just wish everybody would just disengage from social media and buy their local newspaper.
Yeah.
I wish they would do that too.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
But I appreciate you guys. The work you do is huge. The coverage is phenomenal. We're blessed too. We have two newspapers in town. I mean, this little community gets a lot of coverage, and it's the only thing we have other than social media. So thanks, and thanks for always having the candidates in. I appreciate coming down after these long days.
I'm sure there are people out there in this community who are absolutely shocked that the incumbents did as well as they did.
Well, I'm not. I think that we have a good group. We've been doing really amazing things, and I'm just really proud and honored to still be sitting here in front of you knowing that I'm on this council again, and with some of the great people that we've been working alongside so far. And I'm really excited about some of the new people that are going to be joining us. I think that this is a great opportunity for our continued growth and change that we've been doing, and I'm so excited to see what happens next.
At the same time, you lose one of your incumbents,
Yes.
Patricia St. Pierre, and I saw her work on the Finance Committee. I appeared before that Finance Committee a couple of times. I would certainly hope this is not the last we see of her. It
would be a shame if it was. Pat is an amazing human being. She is dedicated, passionate. She always came to the table knowing what was going on, ready to start for the next challenge that we were going against. And even today, sat there all day long, along with the rest of us. And I know for a fact that we'll be continuing to see her. I won't let her go.
I know you guys set goals for, it's one of the first things you do at the start of the new fiscal year. A change in direction in those goals moving forward?
Well, I think so. I think, we have a lot of things coming up on the plate. We have the vote coming up in June, so there'll be conversations probably around that. Justin, again, our president, has been leading us successfully already with exactly that. We sit down and go through our goals. For me, personally, I would love to see us centralize on bringing business into our town and growing that and working on economic development. I think that's super strong and something that's going to help with the conversation that's coming up in June.
I really want to thank the people of North Attleboro because they had a relatively stark choice in front of them today. Do they want to continue down the path that we've gone down the last 6 years, or do they want to tap the brakes? And they want to continue with what we are doing. I don't think there's any other way to read this than that. You have the majority of the incumbents returned, pro-growth, and people that are really forward-thinking and looking to grow this town. So I'm very excited to work with this council. I think it's going to be very strong.
It's no secret there's been some division among the council at recent meetings. Do you think today's results maybe quiets that a little?
It should.
Enough.
That was succinct, yes.
Michael?
Yeah, well, we asked about, Keith and Justin, about whether this is a precursor to the school vote, or is that just a totally different animal?
I think you can see who's motivated to come out.
You got to consider, though, the turnout's not going to be the same.
I think the turnout's going to be substantially higher.
You would think.
But they have a lot of time to get that vote ready. They have a lot of time to get the message out to everybody, to get the education out to everybody, to get the facts out to everybody. And I think when you see the facts, I don't see how you can look at this project and say that it's not needed. I don't think you can look at it and say that they made the wrong choice. I was on the building committee, am on the building committee. I don't think you can say that we made the wrong choice. I think the only question is, can you afford the cost? And that's going to be an individual decision best left up to our citizens and our residents, and we're going to have to abide by their wishes. But the need is clearly there, and I think that we made the best choice.
I think it's important that people be involved in their town government. That is what affects your daily life more than anything, more than the president, more than the state, more than anything else. Also, I think it's good to be young and involved in this because you're going to have the most at stake in anything that happens.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned this before. My strength is listening, and I think people want people who, listen in town government and not just talk.
Speaking of talking, you don't speak a lot at town council meetings. Is that on purpose, or do you just pretty much study everything and...
It's a little bit of both. I mean, personally, I believe no one really elects somebody to just do a whole lot of talking. As I said, I think people would rather them listen. Also, it was my first term on town council, so there's a lot of learning involved.
Yeah.
But when I have something to say, I'll say it. And otherwise, I like to listen and absorb, and that helps me in decision making.
What have you learned the first 2 years in the council? You've got Kevin sitting next to you there. What is he going to learn over the next 2 years that you learned?
I think he'll learn that the pace of government is somewhat frustrating, but it needs to be, this sounds bad to say it needs to be slow, but government is slow for a reason, because we want to make sure that all our ducks are in a row. Yep. What is A, what is B, what is Z? Because everything affects everybody. Yep. Whether it's a tax cut or what have you, everything that we do has an effect on everyone in town in some way, shape, or form, and some may benefit from it, and others may not. So that's why we have to think holistically and just look at everything to make sure that the decision that we're making is the best for the town.
Dan Donovan, I don't know if you heard earlier, but I was talking to someone and they described you, and this wasn't a member of the town council, this was a member of the voting public, and they said, you know, years ago I did not vote for Dan Donovan, and quite a few people did not vote for Dan
Yes, they
Donovan
did.
way back then, but watching him on the council, he's a rising star.
That's humbling, Peter. It really is. I'm going to try not to get emotional. I have a tendency to get emotional these days. I'm speechless with the results. As I'm sure you guys both know, this is my fourth time running for council. I lost my first 2 times. I had the incredible honor and the daunting task of finishing out Joanne Cathcart's term, and then I won last time, and now I have won re-election. And I cannot thank the voters of North Attleboro enough to have that kind of faith in me. To the people who voted for me, thank you. I can't say it any better than that. Thank you. To people who didn't vote for me, I hope I earn your trust. I'm there to represent you too. I'm not there just to represent the people who voted for me, and I'm certainly not there to represent myself. That's not what I do.
And before we go on, do you have any family members to thank?
Thank you. I was just going to do that. Yeah. I first and foremost, I have to thank my wife, Joy. I told you. Wouldn't be here without her. I have 2 sons, Connor and Owen. Sorry. I also have to thank Keith LaPointe. He was, other than Joy, he was the first person to convince me to run for council back in 2019. And I thought they were both out of their minds when they said it to me. I said, nobody's going to vote for me. And now here I am. Justin Pare has been an amazing friend, mentor, colleague. And I have to give a shout out to Andy Shanahan, who's decided not to run for re-election. He's another one that has just been in my corner from day one. And I wouldn't be here without people like that. And Joanne Cathcart, who I mentioned earlier, she was another mentor of mine. There's so many people to thank. I know it sounds like an Oscar speech, but it's true.
I'm utterly shocked and truly blessed. It just shows what I've been doing over the last 3 years has not been unnoticed. I've worked really hard to get to where I am right now. So to me, it means a lot. And I hope that we could work together as a team and really grow this town, keep it going in the right direction, the way it's supposed to be, because I truly care, and I know Laura cares, and I'm almost in tears here. This is my first time running for anything in my entire life, so I grew up giving back with my father, Rich McCarthy, so I got to thank him, of course, and my wife, Rebecca, and my kids, Sam and Zach, if you guys are watching. But I do the things I do because I love doing it. I love giving back, and I really go above and beyond, I believe, and I don't know.
This was an interesting election. First
Yeah.
of all, 19 people.
Yep.
For the first time in the 20 years I've been covering North Attleboro town elections, you had a political party come out with a slate of candidates. Only one of them, Mark Gould, was elected. You've been around North Attleboro a hell of a lot longer than I have, maybe not as long as Mike, but had you ever seen anything like that before? And did that end up backfiring?
No, I don't. I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just so thrilled to be here. And I haven't really followed town politics up until 3 years ago when I got involved. And I sat up at the dog park and helping to get that up and running. And then I joined a couple other things. But
And why do you do
yeah.
that?
What's that?
Why do you do that?
I love to see something, get in a problem or correct it. And my father's always told me that if you don't like something, get involved and make a change. And I've always done that. So we didn't have a dog park here, and I couldn't figure out why. So I got involved, and that kind of kicked it off. And then I joined the Cultural Council and did a few things over there. And then next thing you know, I'm on 3 nonprofits, and I still do the Scouts. Very proud of my Scouts. Troop 23, North Attleboro, best troop in town. So I don't know. I like to be involved, and do what I do.
I'm just so honored. I'm relatively a newcomer to the town. I've only been living here about a year and a half. And so I went out door knocking. So the best way, I'm really serious about this. So I was able to hit, I think, about 4. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of precincts. I hit about 4 precincts. I knocked on a lot of doors. I had some great conversations and really appreciated meeting people and hearing what they had to say and hearing, being able to talk about what I think, and the trust in people was amazing. A lot of waves, a lot of thumbs ups. And that meant so much to me. Again, being a relatively newcomer, so to make that connection with people and get that trust, I take that very seriously and will take this role very seriously.
As you know, I sat behind you at the March 24th Town Council meeting. You took the most detailed notes, and you're not even on the council yet.
Well, so I was on, like I said, I was on council. So I finished that role in December of 2023, and I thought, okay, I'm done. And it means so much to me. It's so real. So January 2024, I said, well, I'll see what's going on in North Attleboro. So I started attending the meetings, and I think for people who are new to it, it might seem, I don't want to say boring, tedious, but when you really get to the detail of the issues and you follow it, it's always very fascinating. So for me, I take detailed notes so I can look back. Okay, we talked about this. I can, my notes are the facts that were given, so I remember timelines. Where this goes next. It was referred to Finance Committee, and then next there needs to be a public hearing, and so I will continue that with this role. I need to know exactly, if I'm going to be involved and know what's going on in the town, I need to have those details. So I attended every city council meeting. I might miss 1 or 2 for sickness, but then I watched it on TV. I watch all the planning meetings, and I also watch all the finance committee meetings. And now that in this position, I want to add at least the school committee. Schools are very important to me, so I'm going to watch the school committee meetings on a regular basis.